Okay.
So, hey, Changemakers, I'm here with William. William, you want to tell everybody where you're speaking to me from?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is William, and I speak to you from my hometown when I was growing up, Taipei, Taiwan.
Well, Merry Christmas, William. And do
Yes.
you want to tell everybody what you were telling me about how long it's taking you to get back to Taiwan?
Well, it's just like everybody else experienced with COVID. In Taiwan, they had a lockdown until recently. So the government had lifted all the requirement for quarantine.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, I grabbed the first chance I can get to come back and visit my mom and my brothers. I've not seen them for over 3 years, so I'm really glad I'm here.
That's really happy. I'm really happy and that you get to spend the holidays with them as well. Hey, William, I know you and I have already talked about this, but can you tell me a little bit about what you see when someone comes to the U.S. and what you shared with me about the possibilities, about what kind of expectations they have, and how that plays out when they arrive over the first months and years?
Sure. So, so for me, I'm a first generation immigrant. Um, Even though I don't have the type of the experience the refugees has, so how they get to here. My background was a very normal situation where I came to the U.S. with my parents. My dad has a job here, so we came here. So I couldn't imagine the type of uh, challenges and difficulties refugees go through just to get here. I read a lot about it, but I personally don't have that kind of experience. However, I do have experience somewhat similar to other refugees after they arrived in the US. So for me, I came here when I was 15 years old and full of excitement. Um, I grew up in a society which had a lot of American pop cultures influencing on us, the music, the movies, the way of life. So when I came here with my parents, I came with a lot of excitement, a lot of expectation to what life's going to be like here. Um, However, soon I encountered bunch of difficulties,
Mm.
including first of all, I can't speak the language, and two, I lost all my friends back home. You know, kids in their teenage years, friendship is probably the single most important thing in their life. So I lost all that, and I started to realize the culture and the society here is not as welcoming in the first place as you would imagine. Only later on I realized that just this individualism that U.S. Kind of society kind of focus on really from for outsiders, it feels like people are not welcoming. But in fact, they are not. They're actually very welcoming. They just want to give the newcomers space to grow. But as a newcomer,
Mm.
you kind of misinterpreted that.
Right.
Um, so after I come here, I started to realize, I started facing a lot of emotional challenges. So I
Right.
can see the new immigrants when they come over here, it's like a new life for them. Uh, they will encounter issues and challenges. Um, then depends on their experiences here. They will turn them into a positive experience later in life or negative experiences in life. So I feel like change makers, we have the opportunity to at this pivotal point in their life, we can help them uh, to have a positive life experience here in the U.S. But if not, unfortunately, we have seen some tragic events that were tied to immigrants. after they came here, which is very, very unfortunate.
Can you, I'm feeling your heart so much right here, William. Can you tell me a little bit more about what, in your perspective, what makes for, someone comes to the US, and then I'm kind of picturing a range of possibilities as to what happens, positive or negative. Let's start with the negative. What might happen? Person has these high expectations. In your mind, what kind of things might happen that would make for a negative experience that makes them think, hey, this place is not for me, like you were saying about the welcoming thing?
Yeah, so if you look at the negative side of it, for me personally, I came here, I have difficulty in school because I don't understand what I was studying because of the language problem. And I perceived some students, the way they interact with me as a bullying, um, and I don't have any friends here.
Mm,
I feel lonely. Uh, so uh, I start to have negative thoughts about, you know, what life is like here. Um, I start to have resentment about life here. So I can see immigrants, especially teenagers, when they come over here, um, if they have difficulty with languages and fitting,
sure.
they will feel like their life is being treated unfairly here, and they would start thinking back, whatever the life they had before back home
Right,
is more preferable than life here, and then they
right,
would uh, express their resentment either as a anger or outburst of um, violence or whatnot. I always remember the story that a news event about 20 years ago, this Boston Marathon bombing event, and that was a case where a immigrant family, two teenage boys, they did this unthinkable violence by placing a bomb in the marathon route. So these two teenagers, I could picture me in them when they first came to the U.S. They must was very excited about the new life. So how do they end up doing what they did? Is really a pause for us to think what went wrong for them. Um, if somebody along the way was able to connect them in their life at that pivotal point, they may not become a terrorist bombers. They may become just you and me. Um,
right.
so I think change makers. Um, we may not realize how big the impact we may have on the newly arrived immigrants, but you can turn a very negative outcome to a very positive outcome for a person.
I hear that so much. And so I guess what I hear you saying, William, is, again, based on expectations and obstacles, like you mentioned, language or friendships or feeling welcomed in some way. Things can either go, things have the potential if those go negatively. Oh, and you mentioned also, I think it's fair to say resentment is like, hey, things were better back where I came from. All these things have the power to make things for negative outcomes. But you and your wife Tracy have been cultural companions for several, I believe you mentioned 3 or 4 or 5 um, separate cases over the decades. What, in your experience, have caused positive outcomes? What does the opposite? What are the things that cause for flourishing?
Yeah. So yeah, we had a great experience being a cultural companions with those 4 or 5 families. When we first went into the volunteering for as a cultural companions, we thought our job is to help them get grocery shopping, get the kids in school, um, help them with paying the bills. Those are sort of a day-to-day life things. But soon after we start doing that, we started to realize those people are very good at solving day-to-day lives. They have their local ethnic communities they can reach out to. In fact, they are more agile than we are in finding solutions to the problem.
Yep. Yep.
But I started to notice that they very much welcome our weekly visit. They invite us for lunches. We'll take them out for a short trip to the zoo or to a picnic in a park. And I started to realize what they are really yearning for is friendships. They just want to make friends with people here, and just like you and I, no different at all.
Yeah.
I think that's where we feel like we actually made the biggest impact with them is we become friends, and we become friends for life. We still keep up with them even after all this 10 years or 5 years. We still they are not in Seattle anymore. They all are pretty well established at this point. But we just give them a call once every 6 or 8 months, and we just chat about life. They ask us about our kids, we ask them about their kids. It's really just no different at all. So really, I think what I got most out of this cultural campaign is to be successful change maker. It's just make friends with them. Down at the bottom of this, it's really that simple.
Well, William, I love how you've managed to fit in the word changemaker a few times in this conversation. Are there any final thoughts or things you want to say to the changemakers as we close out the year and celebrate the holidays?
So I would just say I'm just glad I was given this opportunity to be a change maker. I had a lot of anxiety about it when I first started because I wasn't sure how I can be of help. But I learned along the way. It's really that simple. It's really just be friends with them. Sometimes we meet weekly, sometimes we meet only once a month. Just intro them into our way of life here in the U.S. And this is a great country. It just takes a little bit of effort to get to know it. And all the families we visit, they call this home now. And just like I'm calling America home. So I think we have a lot of opportunities to make a positive change to life, to people's life. Believe in what you're doing.
Thanks so much, William. Appreciate talking to you.
Okay. Thank you, Kim, for this. Yeah, you have a great holidays too.